Hello and welcome. How are you? Welcome. It's Tune In Tuesday. Every Tuesday in this beautiful Rise group, we get together and we dive deep into topics that can fully support you in completely stepping into your power. We do a lot on make it mindset. We do some on body balancing. We have a whole different range of topics that we move through. And today is body messages for physical healing. I'm so excited for today's training. Thank you so much for joining us. Let me make sure that I'm all set up okay here. And I can't wait to dive in. So as you're coming into the group, just pop in a little comment in and say hello and share with us where you are coming in from. And are you ready to dive deep today? Maybe heal something that's been going on for you, to look a little bit deeper and see what your body is trying to share with you, be it through pain, be it through some kind of ailment or dis-ease in the body. So for those of you who are new, I want to welcome our new members to the group. I am Marissa and I am a holistic transformational coach, and I would say an intuitive holistic transformational coach, because quite often I feel like, as we connect more and more and more, we are able to share so much more and be more specific with what is going on for you, which is so beautiful. So I help women to align their body, mind, and soul, to really shift their nervous system, accelerate health and healing, which is what we're going to do today, really master their mindset, and the final result, to be able to really step into their visions and to live out their dreams. And that is such a passion of mine and definitely a purpose here on the planet at this time. So a little bit of background in terms of the body and healing. I started out my journey in health in the fitness industry. So I was a personal trainer for going on about 15 years now. And then I added another level of that in becoming a holistic wellness coach and also studying nutrition. So there was a whole other level to the healing that my clients, needed, or what they were going through with their bodies at the time. But then what I figured out, along my own path of healing as well, is that until we deal with a lot of the conditioned self-activation that happens within us, so those conditioned parts of us that are affected sometimes way back from when we were children, and we carry some of this stuff with us. And you'll hear me talk about the conditioned self quite a lot. And I'm going to go deeper into it in the workshop next week. So I'll tell you about the workshop in a little while, and Rebecca's going to pop that link in for you today as well. So without really understanding the conditioned self, how it works, how it's activated, how it holds and stores things in the body, I found it really challenging, and my clients found it really challenging, to be able to really shift and move and heal at a deeper level some of these things that were coming up for them. I had clients with back pain. I had clients with, knee injuries and foot problems and all kinds of things. And I was trying to train them, in exercise way back when. And so there was so much more to it that I wanted to know. So that's where this next layer of the psychotherapy coaching comes into it, and really where my passion is now. And so this is really the mindset and and this, being able to tune in to your body is it really is the foundation of my business now. And there are foundational modules that people actually have to do before they can reach the movement and nutritional parts of my program. There are like these foundational mindset and tuning in modules that they have to do before they even reach that now, because it's just such a crucial part of the healing. So today we're talking about body messages, and we're going to move through 5 typical areas of the body that can, cause problems, that people feel pain, or that there are ailments around, or there's some type of dis-ease in the body, and what the messages behind these may be. It's so interesting. I think you guys are really going to enjoy this. And then at the end, we're going to do an exercise, a bit of a meditation type exercise that will help you to uncover what messages your body might be trying to tell you specifically. Yes. So let's dive in. Let's get started. Thank you, Becca. How are you? Awesome. And as you guys are coming in, just popping into the comments. How are you? Where are you? So that we can all connect with you today as well. And yeah, and Becca, if you want to tag the people that said yes to joining the event as well, just so they can find us. Thank you. So we know that the physical anatomy, right? And the process of what happens in the body when pain or when ailments are present. We're taught this in like human biology at school. We're taught this through conventional medicine as we grow older and we get an understanding from maybe our doctors or doctor friends or people in the health industry. But what about the metaphysical anatomy? What about the emotional component of dis-ease as it forms in the body and gaining an understanding about that? There is so much that is detailed and scientific details about how emotions, trapped emotions, trauma, all kinds of things can manifest in the body in all of these physical ways, right? So today I'm going to share how and why the body shares messages with us and how to find that the root cause of any pain or dis-ease that you may be currently experiencing in your body too. So before we start, I would love you guys to write into the comments, and I'm going to ask you that again as we go through, but just pop into the comments. What is one area of your body that you would love to heal, or you would love to see healed, or you would love to just not go through that pain anymore, just to be able to really shift it at that deeper level so it doesn't come back. So it's not like this reoccurring issue that you're having to deal with all the time. So go ahead and pop into the comments one area of your body that you may just really want to shift, you really want to heal, and that can be your focus for today. So there are usually 4 things that come up or can happen when some form of, whether it be pain, ailment, some form of dis-ease comes up in the body. Usually 4 things. One of the 4 things have happened, or 2 of the 4 things have happened, or 3, or maybe all of these 4 things have happened. So the first thing that may have happened is that the person has disconnected from their true passions in life, right? They've disconnected from what we call their authentic self. And so they may be showing up in all these kind of blocked ways, right? Like whether it's other people's perceptions, we'll get to that. But it could be a number of reasons why they've been disconnected from their kind of true essence and their true passions and the things in life that really fuel them and make them feel great. And then the second thing that can happen is that people have disconnected from their bodies. So when we talk about stress and anxiety, which we do a lot in here, and even depression, a lot of the time the people that I'm working with, these women are like, it's so weird. Like sometimes I can feel like an actual disconnect from my body. It's like this energetic disconnect where I feel like I'm all up here and I need grounding, but it's almost like I have this out of body experience. Like I know for me, when I had my first baby, I experienced like a little bit of rage that would come out from time to time, not around the baby, but just, I would feel it kind of bubbling up. And I think a lot of it had to do with my sleep deprivation. But of course, the sleep is triggering that in me. And there's something that needs to be healed, right? Some kind of block. And I would feel like when I went into these kind of really high emotion moments, I could feel what felt like me just like disconnecting from my body. I really wasn't present. I really wasn't embodied. I really wasn't, grounded in my physical body. So that's the second thing that can happen. The third thing that can happen is that there's just so much worry and concern about external factors. So when that plays out for a long time, we always want to look for some type of manifestation in the body. So worrying about what other people think, this like severe people pleasing that us, especially as heart-led women, we can really get kind of pulled into that. And this people pleasing, and also just worrying about other people constantly, whether it's about their safety or what they think and their perceptions of us and all of this type of thing. And then the fourth thing that can happen is that we've gone through some type of a traumatic event as a child, and there are unprocessed emotions. So there may be incomplete, what we call incomplete trauma, where the trauma is being recycled in other emotions in some kind of protective measure that happened at the time of the trauma, and it hasn't actually been completed yet, like the whole cycle of the trauma. And I'll explain that in a little bit more detail in a minute. Or it may just be unprocessed emotions, some experience that you have had and it was quite emotional, and those emotions haven't been processed. They've been kind of pushed down a little bit. So go ahead and just pop a little hand up into the comments if you felt like at times you've kind of pushed your emotions down and been like, I don't feel like feeling that right now. And the thing about the conditioned self is the conditioned self doesn't want to feel. It doesn't want to do the work. It's too hard. It feels yuck. Like, who would want to feel those icky feelings of an experience that you didn't enjoy? But sometimes if we're suppressing those emotions, these things can start to manifest in the body. Again, certain cycles that are incomplete. So emotions can get trapped in the body, incomplete trauma, which we'll talk about in a little minute as well. All right. Yes. So pop a little hi into the comments. Hey guys, as you're coming in, how are you? So those are the four things that usually we see, like in terms of when something manifests physically in the body, there's some type of pain or ailment or dis-ease in the body. Usually it's connected to one of those four things or all of those four things. So let's talk. When we move away. So we said number one was disconnecting from our true essence, right? From our truth, from our authentic self, from our passions in life, from the things that bring us joy. There's some kind of disconnect. That's one of the four things. So when we move away from what we really want and desire in life, right? We consciously or unconsciously create this kind of rigidity in the body. So the body becomes resistant, body can become fatigued, we can start to feel depressed, as what we do really doesn't resonate with our true essence, with our passions. So you could say that we're like somewhat out of alignment. And so we're out of alignment emotionally, and then of course we're out of alignment physically as well, right? So it can be sad, it can be frustrating, and it can be even really hurtful to not know what those emotions are linked to. So if you're feeling like high anxiety or you're feeling depressed and you don't know why, it can be really challenging, right? To feel those feelings and not know where they come from. And so my job, I feel like when I work with you guys, is to help you connect those dots so that the real healing can happen, so that this is not repetitive. This is not a record that's going to be playing out for the rest of your life. We can stop it. We can go deep. We can heal, and the process can begin, right? You can feel a lot lighter, start feeling a lot better in daily life as well. Another thing that can happen is many people get stuck in what we call fight-flight mode, right? As a result of things that have happened in their past or in their upbringing. It could be an emotional experience, it could be some kind of traumatic event, or it could just be being a child, right? And being disciplined by a parent, which I'll talk about a little bit in a minute. It's a survival tool, right? This fight-flight response is a survival tool. If a child has been in a situation where it has felt threatened in any way, this fight flight response is going to kick in. That nervous system is going to kick in and say, this is a situation that you need me, like you need my help here, right? So it's a survival tool. So we can get stuck in these instinctive reactions. And when we do that, we begin to give our power away, because once again, we become even more disconnected from our true essence, from our authentic self, right? From our personal power. We begin to really just kind of hand that over when we get stuck in these patterns. So we may get stuck in our conditioned self. We may begin seeing the world then through these, like what we call dirty sunglasses, not seeing yourself clearly, not seeing the world clearly, but seeing it through a lens of limitation that not only impacts the way that you feel, but the way that your body responds to those feelings, right? So we will explain the conditioned self in depth in the workshop next week. So if it's something that you want to learn more about, we have a beautiful workshop coming up. It's called Radical Self-Love. It's 26 sexy steps to radical self-love, because the importance of this, like, it's paramount. I can't even explain what a beautiful foundation this is, not just for emotional healing, but for physical healing as well. So I think Rebecca popped the link in there, or we'll pop the link into the comments. We'll talk more a bit about that in a little while. So according to Yvette Rose, or before we kind of dive into, I have a couple beautiful books, and I'm going to share some of the messages from different parts of our body that can come up that may be related to what you're going through at the moment. And then you can share with me also, but I would love to hear from you as to one area in your body that you would like to heal. What's one area that you would really love to heal? Like, full on, going all in, getting it shifted so that it doesn't keep coming back. Maybe it's just a little niggle. It might not be something that needs huge physical healing. It may just be a little niggle that's been there for a really long time. And it's a bit frustrating. It's a little bit annoying, but it's nothing that serious. But now is the time to really kick that in the butt and to say, okay, what is the message that you're trying to tell me? Let's do the healing around it so that it can go, so that nothing more severe starts to happen. So there are like different levels, right, of healing that we will need to do. If we ignore the niggles, sometimes the body's messages need to become louder and louder and louder. So what we want for you is to really just nip those really quickly, those little niggles, so that nothing bigger like starts to happen for you. But go ahead and pop into the comments. What is one part of your body that you would really like to heal? And I'm on StreamYard, so if you just click the link above or put your name into the comments so that I can see who's in here. If you haven't clicked the link and given StreamYard permission, I just can't see your name and it comes up as Facebook user. But I would absolutely love to hear, what is one area of your body that you would like to heal with me today? Really begin the healing process today. Awesome. Okay, so according to Yvette Rose, who is the author of one of the books that I'm going to talk about today, dis-ease in the body is the body's natural response to unresolved emotions, unresolved conflict, and unresolved trauma, right, that happens in our life. So our lives, or she believes our lives, are based on a series of events. So our upbringing, any trauma, even ancestral trauma. So we might be talking about generational patterns of trauma that can happen that stem from, all of these. So let's give a little example. Let's say a child says no to a parent, right? And the child gets punished. There's some form of punishment. And that punishment really saddens him. And I always think of my son when I start to, obviously, because we have such a huge impact on our children, right? Just as our parents had a huge impact on us. And so, I do my best to show up as a really conscious parent and do what I feel is the very best for my children. But we have to set boundaries with children, right? Those boundaries, they're real. Children need them. They desire them. They want the structure. but we also, can understand that there could be some emotional ties to some of these things. So let's just talk about this for a minute. So there's a little boy and he says no to mummy or daddy. Maybe it's a big deal, maybe it's not, but mummy or daddy sets a boundary and he gets some form of kind of like a punishment or just some form of direct boundary setting, right? And it's done in a way that the child doesn't like. And so it really saddens him. And so this little piece right here can affect how the child shows up as an adult. So this may affect the way that this little boy shows up to boundaries in the future. So it may be that he doesn't like being told what to do as an adult and he gets a bit rebellious, or it may just mean that he doesn't stand up for like what he really wants to stand up for. Maybe he loses his voice a little bit and he doesn't say things that he might want to say. And because that fight, flight response, that protective measure has been put in place as a child, it definitely may not serve him as an adult. Maybe he wants to speak up now. Maybe it's time to speak up now, but he is guarded because of experiences that he's had, right? So maybe not standing up for something that hurt him, as an adult. And so yeah, this is how it can play out. Like it can just become the default as an adult. And the problem isn't always in the child. I think that's what I'm trying to say here, is the problem doesn't stop there, right? And it's not always even there. So, sometimes boundaries are set for children for safety reasons, right? So the child might not always understand, but it is what's best for the child at the time. And maybe it isn't really a big issue for the child at the time. Maybe there's some kind of protective measure that's put in place for the actual safety of the child. Maybe the child even understands that as a child. But then whatever this protective measure is just keeps playing out in adult life. So another scenario, say the child wants to run out into the road and is stopped by a parent. The parent says, you can't do that. You're going to get hit by a car. They need to pull back then, right? The child needs to pull back, needs to play small, shrink a little bit, right? Not be the fullest expression of who he is. He has to kind of, hold back a little bit. And it literally saves his life. But the cells in his body only know repetition, right? So although this pattern was very useful when he was a child, now that he's an adult, it automatically stays with him through adulthood. So it becomes this default pattern, maybe to feel anxious, maybe to hold back, maybe to not be the fullest expression of who he or she is. And it becomes a survival instinct. And for us women, I think it manifests in us in terms of this, I'm not good enough, I can't do that, the holding back, not speaking up for ourselves. So it becomes a survival instinct that no longer serves us, but unless it's broken, it's going to continue to play on repeat. So then when the physical manifestation of, say, these emotional responses, whether they're emotional triggers or deep trauma, comes up, or as these default mechanisms, ingrain, they tend to get stronger and stronger as we go by. And and they get more uncomfortable too, right? So as more situations start to happen in life, we begin to kind of maybe push through. Put your hand up if you've ever felt like that, right? If you've ever felt less than great emotionally or physically, but just kept going, like just started to push through. So we can become disconnected, we can become more resilient, but in a way that's kind of like this push, right? So put your hand up if you've ever felt like you've had pain in your body, or you haven't been feeling that great, today, but you're going to push through anyway, because that is what you feel like you have to do. Tell me if you've ever felt like that. And we do, don't we? We push on in society, don't we? We push on because we feel like that is what we do. We have a popular saying on the football field in Australia that's like, walk it out. When a guy gets knocked down, when he gets hurt and he's lying on the floor and he's like legit in pain, the other guys are like, get up, man, walk it out, walk it out. walk it out, you're all good, right? And so how does that relate to you in your life? How do you keep pushing through even when physical pain comes up? And you just keep going. You want to be tough. We want to be strong. We don't want to show the pain. But what if we really do want to listen to what's going on in our body? And what if there really is a deeper meaning behind this? Then we're not listening, we're disconnected, we're pushing through, we're on repeat, we're repeating those emotional responses that maybe we gained as children, and now we are just in a default pattern in adulthood. What happens? Well, that physical manifestation, sometimes the messages get louder and louder and louder. The physical manifestation worsens, so it might turn from a niggle into chronic pain or into some kind of injury. And then we start seeking the help, right? But how beautiful if we can just see the niggles and understand what they mean and do the healing when, in the beginning, before it even gets to that. So a little bit of a story, a little bit of background. Hi, Hannah. How are you? Hi, Kim. So nice to have you here. That's so awesome. Gut health. Yes, totally. Absolutely. Okay. Cool. So we will make sure that we touch on that as I go into these different specific areas of the body and what the messages might mean. We're going to go into 5 different areas today. So a little bit of background, a little bit of history in me and some of my healing. When I found myself in chronic back pain back in 2014, 2015, and I had literally found myself with nowhere to turn but to go inward. So we were living in the islands at the time. There weren't any real therapists or practitioners here that I felt could really help me. I was flying to Barbados like every 2 weeks to have appointments with a holistic practitioner over there and a chiropractor over there and an osteopath over there, I think. I think I even went to an energy healer at some point. But I really felt like there was nowhere else for me to turn but to turn inward. And that is really where I found my healing. And so this is why I'm probably more passionate about this today than I was prior to that. So I was looking for every answer under the sun. I'd come from a health background. I understood physiology. I understood, what was going on in the body, how it manifested physically, what I needed to do to treat it, to change it, to shift it, and none of that was working. So little did I know, I had most of what I needed right here, right with me, right within me. I realized that I had been holding back so much in my life. I wasn't following my passions, my purpose, my true purpose, and what I knew I wanted to do for as long as I can remember from when I was a little girl. I wasn't showing up for that little girl, right? I went to books. I'm going to share a couple of them with you today. I did, dove into energy healing. I had a few discs that were apparently completely degenerated. I had a few vertebrae that were completely damaged to the point of no repair. I couldn't walk. I mean, I was walking for 10 minutes and I would have to lie down, and I'd lie down, I'd have to sit up, and then I'd have to move again. I couldn't do anything for more than 10 minutes. And it felt like for a year or a year and a half that life was really like that. So apparently I had complete degeneration of my back, even though I was only, 35 at the time, and a relatively fit and healthy individual otherwise. I found visualization. I found deep meditation, meditative techniques for healing. All of this really saved me because I was able to understand what was blocking me, what was holding me back. And when I went for my X-ray and my scans, when I reached Australia, which I really wanted to go back home to get the help that I needed, and they did these scans again and they did these X-rays again, and what they found was nothing. It was quite amazing to see the difference in the X-rays, in the scans, side by side, that I had 2 completely degenerated discs and all of a sudden I didn't. And so there's so much more to our healing than just the physical side of it, right? And so all of that really saved me. But more than that, then I started living in my passion. I started, living out what I feel is like my purpose. I started living more in my authentic self, learning more about all of this, and went and did the psychotherapy coaching certification at the time. And so really started being able to support women to move through this as well as I had moved through it. So hence the passion there, right? Absolutely. So the science of epigenetics, if you haven't already, pop your place of healing in your body, the area in your body that you would like to heal, because I'm going to go to my Bible book that I call it, because it's like amazing today. And so I can pull these for you, or we can talk about them. If we don't get time to reach them today, I'll connect with you outside of here. So go ahead and pop into the comments or send me a direct message. What is the area of healing that you would like to do in your body? What's coming up for you? What is one area that you would really like to heal? I want to help you to get on your way today. So the science of epigenetics shows that trauma, let's go back to this trauma for a little while. I'm just going to explain how it comes up in the body, how it can manifest in the body. So the science of epigenetics shows that trauma can be carried not only through our lifetime, but through generations, right? So our childhood trauma can affect our grandchildren. Hello, we want to heal that stuff. So our grandparents, what they went through can affect, right, us and what we're going through. And I have a beautiful girl that I'm working with at the moment, and we touched on so many different areas of healing for her. And then we realized, wow, this actually goes back like 3 generations. This is at a cellular level. Like, we need to shift this, right? So let's talk about trauma for a hot minute. Other animals, not humans, they go through what we call a completing trauma cycle, right? So they complete their trauma. They go in this circle until it's complete. And so they do this through a series of events like exercising, shaking, trembling. They physically shake off an incident when it happens. So when animals are out in the wild and one animal is maybe under attack by another animal and it flees and it runs and it gets away, very often, different animals have different cycles that they go through, but the animal will very often go and find a safe space, and it will go through this whole kind of shedding ritual that it does. And it's very often it is just a physiological response. So it's not like the animal's, deliberately, consciously doing this, but it is a bit of a physiological response. But it either will shake, or tremble or run really, really fast and shake off that incident. And what we call that is a complete trauma, right? So it has completed the entire cycle and it has been released. And so as humans, we lack this ability, right? We lack the ability to discharge autonomic energy in the body that is imprinted, that is stored in the brain at a cellular level. And so, suppressed adrenaline, right? Like, think of all these hormones and chemicals that flood through our body when we hit fight flight mode. And that is suppressed in the body. And so the muscles can still be tense, right? Just as they were on that day of the trauma or of the emotional event in our life. It's still there. So those muscles might still be tensed. We might still, have that stiffness in our chest or in our throat, and it might come back time and time and time again. So when a human goes through trauma, there's no release of this energy. They just keep carrying it with them, like for the rest of our lives. We just keep carrying this with us. And then every time another trauma comes up or another emotional event comes up, and we talk about triggers, right? A lot of the women that I'm working with, a lot of you guys are like, this anxiety, like, and I have this same trigger that comes up. The girls in the Rejuvenate program, they're actively working on their triggers and being able to understand why it keeps coming up and repeating like that every time. So every time another emotional experience comes up, every time another trauma comes up, our bodies revert back to this state, right, of that first incident, of that first event, whatever it was. And so the long-term effects often are disassociation of our feelings, right? So we hold on to the trauma thinking it may protect us in the future, but actually it's a barrier to being able to like show up in our true essence and be fully connected to who we really are, right? So the ability to disassociate with our feelings, those feelings we don't want to feel, like at the beginning of the training, I was saying, our conditioned self, these conditioned parts of us, that negative Nancy, the mean girl, the ego, whatever you want to call it, it wants to disassociate with feelings that don't feel good, right? It doesn't want to feel the stuff. It's the one that doesn't want to do the work. Your authentic self is the one who's here today, who's like, I want to do this work because I want to be free. I want to feel good. I want to be out of pain. I don't want to have dis-ease in my body. And I certainly don't want to be handing that down to my children and grandchildren. But the conditioned self is the one that like, it wants to disassociate. It doesn't want to feel the stuff, right? It wants to squash the trauma. It wants to forget about it, put it under the carpet. But what happens is when we do that, when we shove it under the carpet and we don't deal with it, our brain creates new neurological pathways around it. So we don't actually get out of it. We don't get out of jail free, right? We actually still have to deal with the issue. So let's talk. The body, alongside your subconscious mind, keeps a record of everything, right? Everything we've ever, and this is the book that I'm about to go to by Yvette Rose. She, is really strong on this one in that, the body keeps a record of everything you've ever done, everything you've ever eaten or felt or thought or experienced in your life is like stored in the body. And so our bodies are libraries, right, of knowledge and a tool for reading messages. What is really going on? What can we really shift here at a deeper level that is going to free you completely, not just from the physical pain, but from that disassociation, from the emotions, from the triggers, from the, acting out, not really knowing why, from the drama, from the whatever it is in life that is not allowing you to be the fullest expression of yourself. So our body communicates with us every single day, right? And so learning how to listen to it, we're going to get to these messages now, learning how to listen to it. And it doesn't have to be hard. Let's think about when we're a baby. Who has a baby? I have a baby. He's a bit of a toddler now. But many of you have had babies. If you don't have a baby right now, but you have small children or small children or you've seen babies at least, right? So let's think about how a baby reacts. A baby naturally listens to the body's messages, right? And reacts to them. And usually a baby only cries, like babies are fully in their authentic selves, like all the time. They're just the happiest little beings, aren't they? And they only react when their life is threatened, usually, right? So when they're not feeling safe. They react because they're cold, or they react because they're hungry, or they react because they need physical touch, right? And so when we were babies, we cried for safety. We cried right away. We were like not trying to reason with our bodies, like, why do you feel cold? Why are you hungry right now? We weren't telling it, oh, you're hungry. We just have to wait a little while. Okay. We weren't like talking to it the way that we talk to it today. You weren't telling your body to like stop feeling a certain way. You just reacted. You just cried because you were hungry, right? And so today as an adult, we often like ask ourselves questions like, why is my headache still here after 3 days? I mean, come on, body, go away, Why is this back pain still here? Gosh, it's so annoying, it's so frustrating. Why do I feel so tired? Why do I feel so lethargic? I've just had 2 coffees. Like, why are we asking all these questions to our bodies? Whereas when we were babies, we were just like, give me what I need, right? Why is the tinnitus still in my ears when, I've done everything I can to reduce my stress levels or whatever it is? Who's asked their body that question? Who's asked their body a question like that recently? Like, but why? I feel like I've done everything. I know with my back pain, I was like, what else? Like, I've done everything under the sun. Why do I still have chronic back pain and I can't walk, right? So put your hands up into the comments if you would like to learn a super duper simple technique that will help you get clear answers to these questions, right? Clear answers that are going to help you move forward, clear answers that are going to help you shift and really not allow these to be on repeat all the time and for this to be such a repetitive issue for you. If you're in pain, like, let's get rid of that for real. Okay, so let's talk about the 5 areas. Yes, hands up. Awesome, guys. Yes, like, let's shift this for you. And let's shift it once and for all so that it doesn't keep coming back. All right, awesome. So what are the 5 areas that we were going to talk about today? Actually, there's a bonus one as well. But the first one is that I've had a couple messages from you guys about ears. So I brought up the tinnitus because I've had a few people coming to me with tinnitus recently. I have had a couple girls asking, even a girl last night asked me, she has like some kind of dermatitis or something like that in her ears. So if we are looking at, some kind of, whether it's an ear ache or it's an ear infection or if it's an ear block or if it is, something outside of the ear that is going on, we ask ourselves, this comes from, let me show you this book. It comes from this book, Metaphysical Anatomy. Your Body's Talking. Are You Listening? It is like a massive book. That's why I call it my Bible, because it is just like huge, filled with information. It is so wonderful. And so ears, when it comes to ears, we want to ask ourselves, what are we not listening to? What do you not want to hear? What do you need to block out? Are you trying to block out someone? Are you trying to block out something? There may be a fear of confrontation if there's something going on with the ears, maybe feeling disempowered, right, by other people, maybe in a relationship, and there could be something coming up with the ears. And please go ahead and pop into the comments, what specific area do you want to heal? Because I will, if you are live, then I will touch on that like right here, right now. And if you are not, then I'm going to direct message you and get in touch with you. And I'm going to share with you what the messages might be for your body. Okay, so the next one you guys have been dealing with quite a bit is tension in the neck and shoulders. Every time we do a healing session, I feel lately like you guys have so much tension in your neck and shoulders. So whether we're dealing with dis-ease in the neck or in the glands or whatever that might be, or whether it is just tension in the back of the neck and the shoulders, there seems to be a lot of us at the moment that are dealing with this. So neck or shoulders can mean just maybe feelings of rigidity, like feeling rigid in daily life, maybe unable to make decisions from your authentic self, maybe wanting to make those decisions. Throat chakra, so like not speaking up as well, not using your voice as much as you would like to, not saying how you really feel, possibly out of depth in circumstances or in relationships, like wanting to get out or feeling like you want to get out, not allowed to be the fullest expression of who you are maybe in a relationship. So yeah, neck, shoulders, and throat as well. So go ahead and popping in there into the comments for me if you want me to touch on anything. The next one is back. So if I'm an expert in any of these, it's back, right? Because I've had it all, the lower back, middle back, upper back, the whole back, the spine. And so when we're talking about the back, we're talking about support, feeling supported in life, in daily life, structure in your life, feeling happy with that structure. I always say, like, our spine is not only the backbone of our body, but it's the backbone of our life. Like, it's where the stability comes in. It's where we feel safe and strong. And so if it's lower back, sometimes it can be financial aspects, other people's needs, maybe people just needing things from you constantly, right? Like feeling burdened, feeling under pressure. Middle back can be, again, this like responsibility for others outside of you, taking away your own stability, taking away your own safety net, which, again, this radical self-love workshop is all about that. It's all about making sure that you have this safety net under you that is so strong that it is unwavering. And that way, when you give, you're just giving from an overflow. Right? You're not like, I don't show up here and feel totally leaked by you guys. I feel like I show up and I just am giving from an overflow. It feels beautiful. I love it. I'll give as much as I can, right? So that middle back, feeling responsibility, like having to show up to other people's needs. And then maybe there's some kind of overlap there, like not really understanding, not even understanding, but not always feeling a clear line between what is your issue and what is someone else's issue. So it may mean you're extra sensitive and you're like picking up on other people's stuff, right? Could be in a group environment where there's some humiliation or embarrassment for something that has happened in the past. You might feel like you're being controlled in some way as well. So that's back. Go ahead and just pop into the comments if you've ever had some type of back issue, or if you do have a back issue right now, let me know what it is. So the fourth one is our legs. And quite often at the moment, I found like you beautiful ladies in this group are sharing with me knee stuff and ankles too. So knees can mean, you know, not always moving forward, like feeling like you're a bit stuck and not moving forward, not making maybe the big changes that you want to make. Maybe you have a really big vision. A lot of you do. You're heart-led women in here. Like you want to make changes. You want to help people. You want to save the planet. You want, like, you have so many dreams, right? That are so beautiful, that are do-good dreams. And so maybe you're not moving forward. Maybe you're feeling like you're not making the big changes that you want to make in life. You're not following that authentic self, you know, guidance. Maybe there are some fears of what other people might think still if you did step out in a bigger way. Fear of stepping into leadership. Maybe, you know, will people like it or won't they? Like, you know, what's going on here? Feeling pushed down or controlled. This is coming up quite a bit, feeling like pushed down or controlled. And I know we've all been through a lot in the last year and we're still going through a lot, right? And so many of us are feeling kind of controlled, you know, like we have to do certain things, like that maybe we want to, maybe we don't want to. And so there are those questions there too, if the knees are coming up, legs in general, and ankles as well. Okay, and then I also wanted to touch on the feet because they're a little bit different. So we're talking now stepping forward, like actually taking the steps toward our dreams, actually taking the steps of showing up fully in our authentic self, being the fullest expression of who we are, reaching for our highest potential, remembering that when we disconnect from that, from our passions, from really being who we are, a lot of the time that is seeds to grow these manifestations in the body that can end up as pain and ailments and dis-ease, right? So stepping forward, again, this control coming up, like maybe some things are outside of your control and some things are coming up with your feet. Maybe you're questioning direction. You might feel controlled. Again, this is like a legs thing, resistance to change, fear of moving. Maybe you have fear of moving away from family, or maybe it's just family values, something like that. Let me know if any of this resonates. Yes to the knees. Yep. Yes. Yes to the knees. So did any of that resonate as I was sharing about the knees? Did that resonate for you? Were you like, and I'm just not sure who it is. Is that Hannah or maybe it's Kim? I'm not sure with the name. Maybe just pop your name and then just let me know. When I was talking about the knees, did that resonate for you? Like, okay, there are a few messages there that I may be able to work with. And then skin has been another one that's been coming up for you beautiful ladies in the group, and myself also lately over the last couple of months, a little bit of skin here and there. So this can be irritation, emotions, irritation, sensitivity to specific issues. I know there's a lot going on in the news at the moment. There's a lot going on worldwide at the moment. And I've certainly, in conversations with you girls, just been like, I've been hearing a lot, I feel so sensitive to just everything that's happening. Like I'm really feeling the emotions around what's happening in the world right now. So sensitivity to specific issues, and we can support you with that, with helping you to feel more protected, to actually protecting your energy too. So that's another one, lack of protection that you might feel, like this element of safety, right? Poor personal boundaries. This is one with the skin, right? How good are your boundaries? If you have some skin irritation, eczema, dermatitis, psoriasis, any of this, how good are you with your boundaries? Are you setting boundaries with other people, with your friends, with your family? Are you holding, yourself in the light that you should be holding yourself in, right? Like saying no when you want to say no, showing up for yourself as a yes when it really needs to be, when there's something that you really want to do for you. Holding on to anger or resentment from the past, feeling vulnerable, maybe too vulnerable. And yeah, I think that's it for the skin. So let me know if you guys have had any skin irritation or any skin issues lately, and if you feel like any of that resonates with you as well. Yes. Kim, thank you. Knees and feet. Yes. Okay, awesome. And so you can see how the legs in general, they kind of overlap. So when we have one or more things happening in one area of the body, it's so great that you're here, right? It's so great to be listening to this today. Awesome. Awesome. And doing this first part of the healing. Okay, cool. So we're going to go into an exercise that can help you. I think there was also some gut issues there as well. So let me just do that. There are a couple. So there's like the stomach, and then there's intestines, and of course there is like every area. So if you can just share with me like what the gut issue is, then I could get even more specific. But I'll go to the stomach and share on that one as well. Yeah, so let me know, guys. Like, let me know, is this resonating with you? And now we're going to go into this beautiful, just a bit of a visualization and a beautiful technique to really be able to tune in and hear, like, what is it for you? What is it for you? Dun, 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 dun. Okay, let me see. Is it skin? Might have to do with wearing face masks. Yeah, absolutely. If there is like any other manifestation though, or if it continues, like definitely something to think about. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And isn't that interesting? Something to do with wearing face masks. Yeah. So interesting. And this is all just great awareness, isn't it? Like just to know, even just to stop for long enough to know how we feel about something, right? To know what's coming up for us. And sometimes holding that. So sometimes we will hold an emotion for 90 seconds to release it. Sometimes it goes, but we're so determined and we resist that so much. Our conditioned self is so determined not to feel it and to push it aside and to disassociate and all the things. And actually, if we can hold something that we want to let go for 90 seconds, try this at home, a lot of it can dissipate. Sometimes there are deep-rooted, beliefs and things that need to be shifted, sure, and we do the deeper work around it, but sometimes it just needs to be like heard and felt. Okay, so let's go here. We have, what kind of gut issues? Okay, intestines. Oh, great. Okay, that's where it was. Okay, so again, with intestines, close relationship. So some type of, and there could be some trauma there as well with the intestines, some type of old emotional experience that happened with the body in a close relationship. Maybe there's some stored resentment, stored anger, feeling injustice or some type of betrayal or something like that, where some emotions have come up and they haven't been able to be like fully felt and fully shifted yet. So this is like within close relationships, but let me like go and see if there's a deeper meaning here. And so sometimes these stem back, like from childhood, they can be generational. Like we were talking, like it can go back 3 generations sometimes or more. Like I heard of one healing session the other day and it was like 8 generations or something. Like I'm laughing because I'm like, is that even possible? Like, but wow, right? That it doesn't start with us and it certainly doesn't stop with us a lot of the time. As well. So let me just get this intestines while we're all together. And because it goes into so much more detail, but usually there's some kind of, and if there's a block in the intestinal tract, then usually there's like a block in daily life, right? To something around that, some type of, like if those emotions are being stored, like anger, resentment, something to do with close relationships. So let's see. So experience circumstances, people's reactions in a very intense way. So maybe some kind of an emotional experience, communication blocks with family members, feeling misunderstood, accessing motivation and passion from a fighting instinct, which is causing more tension. Often these instincts are activated by old trauma. So again, something that may go back to childhood, causing you to make decisions that result in self-sabotaging patterns, self-creating stressful situations. Here we go. There's a lot more, but let me know. Let me know if anything there resonates at all. Something about family life and not knowing if people are being sincere or not. So let's see. How does that resonate? Does anything there like just drop in and you're just like, yes, maybe something might be there. Okay. Yes, spot on. Okay, awesome. This, tell you what, this book is like phenomenal. I get goosebumps every time I read something, like for myself and for clients. It just seems like so spot on. I'm so happy to hear that resonated. Okay, cool. So let us go into this technique and it'll just sort of allow us to get a little bit deeper. So hold on to those. Like if whatever popped up for you as I was reading that out, just hold on to those as we go into this visualization and we probably get a bit of a stronger message as well. Okay, so let us just close down our eyes, just getting nice and quiet. Start breathing, taking some deep breaths. So feet flat on the floor if you can. Take a big breath in through your nose. Breathe out through your mouth. Once again, take a nice deep breath in. Breathe out through your mouth. And then just allowing your body to breathe in its natural rhythm, but do your best to just take deeper breaths as we do this exercise. And just noticing your belly and your chest as it rises and falls. And taking your awareness to just the air coming in through your nose and maybe leaving out through your mouth, or if it's nose in, nose out, just that air as it enters and leaves your body. Is it cool? Is it warm? Just taking your awareness. And now I want you to go to any physical sensations that you're currently experiencing, or if you have already pinpointed them with me, then going to one area and then another as we go through this exercise. And so just focus maybe on one area at the moment, one that you really, is coming up for you and you're like, this needs to go. Take a deep breath in. And just really becoming aware, like taking all your awareness to this area and just really becoming aware of what it feels like. And so we want to kind of just step into our authentic self a little bit, and that analytical mind can just be released for a moment. And we just want to feel, like just feeling the feelings, bringing awareness, some nice deep breaths. So what do you feel in this area? Do you feel pain? Do you feel tightness, tension? Does it feel blocked? Does it feel hot or cold? Does it feel open or constricted? And then what are the physical symptoms? And just becoming really aware and getting really clear on what those are. Take another deep breath. And now you're just going to tune in. Remember that, every single one of us has this ability to tune into our body, and we are so connected to our bodies. Like, this is our home. This is where we live. Yet sometimes we can feel really disconnected from it. So just knowing that every single one of us has this ability to really tune in to our body. Take a deep breath. And just ask this area, like ask your body, ask this area, what are you trying to communicate to me? What is the deeper message here? What is the deeper meaning here? What do I need to heal here? Take a deep breath in. And ask your inner guidance, inner pilot light, higher self, your own personal spiritual connection, whatever it is for you. Asking, what is the deeper message? What is the deeper meaning here? And I want you to just, let's all be silent and just listen for what comes up for you. Taking some deep breaths. And for the next 90 seconds, just really allowing yourself to feel what that is. So it may be an emotion that you've realized that has come up for you, something that needs healing. Maybe the emotion is strong. Maybe the pain is strong. Focus on one of those. So focus on the emotion. If it's anger, it's resentment, whatever it is, just focusing on it and hold it. Let's hold it for 90 seconds. Let's go. Big breath in. If there's no emotion, just holding on to the pain, right? Just really feeling the pain, really feeling the tension, whatever the physical manifestation is. Some nice deep breaths. You can clench your fists if you want to, like just sending a really clear message that you're going to hold this just for 90 seconds so that it can release. Taking deep breaths. Holding on to, maybe it's stored emotions that you know are there that need to go. Just really feeling them, allowing yourself to feel them. Maybe you have some, some type of release that comes up, some yawning, some emotion, some crying, some whatever it is. Just really allowing yourself to feel this, really allowing yourself to sit in it just for 90 seconds. Take some deep breaths when you can. Keep holding on. So if you need more, like clenching your fists, or just like holding on to that pain or that tension, the emotion, whatever it is, just keep holding. You're almost there. You're so close now. We're just holding it for 90 seconds so that we can let it go. Two more breaths. Holding on for one more breath. Deep breath in. Let it all out. Release any tension in your body. Shake out your hands if you need to. And take one last deep breath just for yourself to kind of loosen up a little bit. I have a little yawn that's like shifting energy there. And wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes when you're ready in your own time. And opening your eyes and coming back into the space. And then just go ahead and this is a safe space. We work really hard to make this group safe for you to open up, to get vulnerable, to do this work, because we know how powerful it is and can be for you. So go ahead and just type into the comments and just write out like what your body was telling you. What do you need to do? What is like, let your physical symptom or illness or pain or whatever it is, write you a letter. If you don't want to put it into the comments, we're jumping off this call right now. Go and grab a pen and paper and just sit down for 5 minutes and just write it out, right? If you have back pain, let your back pain write a letter to you. If you have, the knees and the feet, let them write a letter to you. This is what's happening to me. And just write it all out. If you feel like sharing in the comments, of course, I would love to. I love to be a part of this healing with you. If you don't want to, it's no problem at all. Go and just grab a pen and paper and just sit down and let your symptom, let that physical issue write a letter to you and tell you everything that it's feeling, right? Go, go, go. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for showing up here with me, for doing this work with me. It is such powerful stuff. And I just so appreciate your vulnerability, your trust, and, your just openness to the process. So I love you. Have a beautiful day. Go and write your letters. Okay. Reach out to me, DM me, message me, let me know. If I didn't hit your specific area, please reach out to me in DM, because I really, really want to support you and make sure you get what you need out of this session. I love you guys. Kim, yes, feeling pushed down, betrayed, communication blocks. That is such great and amazing awareness. That is so awesome that you've been able to, bring light to that. And so now go ahead and write that letter. Go and write that letter and allow those emotions out. We just held it for 90 seconds. And so some of it has released, and then go ahead and write that letter. And please reach out to me, message me, and let me know how it goes for you, what's left lurking, what you felt was able to be released, what's still there that needs to be healed. I love you guys so much. You are doing amazing. Thank you for doing this work with me. Have an amazing day. Go write your letters. I love you. I love you. I love you. I will see you in the group. Oh, and before I forget, please have a look at the link after you've written your letter, not now, for the Radical Self-Love Workshop, because we're diving a little bit deeper into some of the ways that we can do releasing around this as well. And I'm doing a breathwork session with you guys, which is so powerful in releasing some of these blocks. So make sure you check that out after you write your letter. Okay, go write your letters. I love you. Talk soon. Bye.